Welcome everybody to Ben Marla MMA, the best prediction channel on YouTube. Today we are locking in predictions for Pereira versus Prohaska 2. Alex Pereira saving the UFC once again. Let's get straight to the point. The main card opener, Ian Garry versus Michael Venom Page. So this has potential to be what the Wonder Boy fight with MVP would have been, a boring, striking point match. But Ian Garry ducked Colby Covington.
Ian Garry, you translucid cunt.
And I think Dana White is punishing him with this matchup. I don't think this is a very good matchup for Ian Garry at all. But I do see this as a low-action pillow fight that I do think would end in an MVP victory. My official prediction, Michael Venom Page by unanimous decision. The featured fight of the night, Anthony Smith versus Roman Dolidze. Carlos Ulberg did pull out, so it looks like Anthony Smith is catching a break here. Dolidze is a total slouch based on his last performance, but I'm not going to lie and say that Anthony Smith is the greatest fighter ever. On paper, he is, of course, but I can see a boring smudge win for Dolidze, but I can also see that for Anthony Smith. On paper, Anthony Smith is better than Roman Dolidze everywhere. Give me Anthony Smith by boring unanimous decision or fluke guillotine. Okay, this is where things get interesting. Brian Ortega versus Diego Lopez in the co-main event. Brian Ortega, of course, has that win over Yair Rodriguez and is on a comeback. But that is nothing compared to the wild role that Diego Lopez is on right now. The hype for him is insane. That being said, you can't be playing around on the ground with Ortega, like he kind of did with Movsar Evloev. Evloev isn't a wild submission artist like Brian Ortega. But Diego is really dangerous, and his best way to win is in the first round. If Ortega can plod through the shots, like he normally does, I can see a late round submission for Brian the Eagle Ortega. The question here really is, does Diego Lopez have enough power to get Brian Ortega out of there early? Diego Lopez has some crazy power. The way he put out Sadiq Yusuff is crazy. But no, I do not think he does. So here, final prediction. If Brian Ortega can get through round 1, I would take Brian Ortega by submission in round 3.
I'm glad you asked.
Okay, the main event of the evening. Alex Pereira versus Jiri Prohaska 2. It's important to learn coming into this fight, Alex Pereira won the first fight by knockout, even if it was an early stoppage. Alex is on a crazy roll right now. He's living in a movie. Everything's going right for him. But we got to remember, the first fight with Jiri was very, very competitive. Jiri was kind of pulling ahead in that fight with the wrestling. And he might wrestle more in this fight. But Jiri was taking a wild amount of leg kicks from Alex Pereira and Alexander Rakic. Some kicks from Pereira were even spinning him around in circles. I think taking another heavy leg kicker on short notice can really be bad. But the fight is on short notice, and Alex is rarely out of shape, and I doubt Jiri is out of shape either. But my final prediction is Alex Pereira by round 2 or 3 TKO. But even if we're lucky, we could get a leg kick stoppage. Those are all of my official predictions for UFC 303. The sheer amount of pullouts on this card was insane. I think that co-main event got changed up like 3 or 4 times. Anyway, the new fights on this card I think are better than the original fights. Of course I would rather see Alex Pereira fight than Conor McGregor, but I'm still kind of upset that McGregor and Chandler got moved back. But it's whatever. We have a great night of fights coming up this week. I'm pumped for it. Those are my predictions. Make sure to hit the subscribe button so you can see my videos more. Adios.